back to the basics. It's going to be a CTF to kick this one off. A small arena map, everything you could ask for in a legacy Halo fan. And hopping on board with Gambino, a player that maybe didn't impress us on Friday, but had a much better performance on Saturday. Stepped it up, and because he was able to step it up, he gave Timbers Esports so much life. But speaking of so much life, he's going to have to find that success on respawn because he's taken down early on. And Dolan, he's found himself the first camo.
Has found himself the first camo, and we know how much and how important it's been for this power-up control for the Timbers roster in particular. They've really struggled when they haven't been able to get that power-up control, so we'll keep a keen eye on that throughout this tournament. But here's Sepstars, formerly on this Timbers roster when they were Legends Never Die, and he'll be looking to try and get one over them once more here in bracket play. But a couple of kills going in favor of them. Flag now starting to move, and Sepstars in a position to be a real nuisance in the base.
Sepstars has to stay alive if Cintanegra X want to continue this flag run. Needs to figure out a way to get a couple of slays. He does get his shield back and relocates. He's bought enough time as well. Being a distraction in that closet, such a massive opportunity for Cintanegra X to keep some map control as players were coming off respawn. And because Sepstars was able to buy so much time, it's allowed his teammates to grab the flag, run it to the back of the base. They're going to be taking the lead now, and that's all because Sepstars was a nuisance. He didn't just go for a kill. He didn't go for a touch. He just had to have presence on the map.
Sometimes all you need is that person just forcing those players away so they can't get to that flag. They can't add those extra little bits of damage to get the flag stopped. Camo's going to be popping again in 15 seconds. Timbers find themselves 3 dead though, and this is looking similarly to what we saw on Friday. Cintanegra X in complete dominance in these early stages, both in slays, map positioning, and of course with that one extra flag to work with. Really going to need to see a turnaround from Timbers early on here, because if this does carry on the way that it's going right now, it is slowly but surely going to snowball out of control.
Yeah, looking a lot like the first time these two teams played back in pool play. You thought Timbers may switch it up on us, may step it up for us, but no signs of that as of yet. And War catching a player off guard, knocking him to no shields. Some good damage for free. Second player gets to no shield. Can't quite finish either one of these kills. Is that going to come back to bite Cintanegra X? Having to just chase that player a couple extra seconds, Dan, that can be the difference in between a successful flag run and one that potentially gets stalled. Both flags on the move now, however, is we are going to see Luor pull this flag, throw it out in the bottom middle, but he needs to be a presence in the enemy base. And once again, Cintanegra, understand that presence over everything in Halo means so much. And the Ninja actually gets the melee.
And I know it's a cliche, Wes, but I think this series is going to be who wants it more, right? You've got Orlando on the horizon. Whoever wins this, you get top 3. Sepstars used to be on this team. May have got dropped. Not sure if he was dropped, but certainly Gambino joined this roster, so it would suggest that if he can get one up on his ex-teammates and also get that placement at Orlando, that is going to be the best thing that he could have possibly wished for coming into this tournament. Another flag is going to be moving though. This time it's Timbers running a flag. 2 are up on both sides at the moment, so this is going to be probably a flag standoff if that flag does get pulled. But Noble recognizes players spawning behind him, and he will double back just to check that no one is going to be nading him for free.
Great job by Noble to get this flag on the move, and Timbers Esports maybe not going to go as quiet into the night as we thought, Dan. This flag into the closet already. Unfortunately, dynamo grenades are coming through. Several frags, and Noble loses his life. That's 2 down for Timbers Esports. And Luor with the kill. That's going to be 3 dead for Timbers as the flag, it's returned. Luor's got the enemy flag in his hands, and this is a counter cap opportunity that Cintanegra, if they can take advantage of this, they're going to take a 2-0 lead. But slays are coming through for the respawners of Timbers Esports. They should be able to get this return, keeping this at a 1-0 game. But a phenomenal job by Cintanegra to honestly stop the flag run that Timbers Esports had, because this game was supposed to be tied up moments ago.
Don't say the word stat. If there's a Cintanegra roster around, if there's a Pittsburgh Knights roster around, we've already seen what some of these teams have been able to do to the lower seeded teams when they really have taken control. They've very much padded those stats and got those extra kills. I don't think it's the case though for Cintanegra X right now, because Timbers are putting up a fight, but that flag just isn't able to get past the halfway line. Hyumgel is going to be, is going to be there waiting in the wings, has the dynamos to work with to do the initial damage, but unfortunately whiffs on the beatdown. Very back and forth in this current stage of the game, and even though there was early dominance for Cintanegra X, Timbers have responded fantastically.
Yeah, done a good job to keep this at a manageable deficit for now. It's 1-0 still. Plenty of time on the clock. If you're Timbers Esports, you just need to find a way to be aggressive. Noble going to try to find that opening aggressive pick into the enemy base. Unfortunately, he gets taken down. And now without numbers in their favor, Timbers Esports, they're going to have to figure out a way to push into this base. Heatwave's a good way to do it. Can't find the way to get the kill, and that's a tough death from Gambino. You want to find that first kill quickly in order to transition onto the second, maybe third player in the back of that base. But once again, Cintanegra players playing their life so well make it so much easier for the rest of the team to help them out.
Him gel. I always say gel. Damn my English. Damn me reading it that way. Him gel. Now pulling the flag in the base, but maybe pulling it preemptively, expecting there to be no one in the base, but alas, he finds out it is going to be him taken down. And I will say that Cintanegra X will be delighted they were able to get that first flag in, because they got it when maybe Timbers hadn't really woken up, but I think they've realized now this is not going to be an easy series. This is not necessarily going to be the cakewalk that was the pool play matchup they had against this team. Timbers are here to stay now, as Lua gets a kill, and a very important one as well, even the odds and even the numbers.
Yeah, it's always nice when you get to play with that lead throughout the CTF match, right? You're never playing for the potential stress of falling to that deficit position. You're able to play comfortably well. Worst case scenario will be tied is kind of the mindset you get to play around, and a lot of your decisions can transfer over to or transition over to a defensive mindset, and just making sure that, hey, Timbers Esports doesn't get a legitimate shot. But as I say that, 3 were down for Timbers. The last player alive spotted in the closet. We're hunting him down. He's got a friend with him now coming off respawn. And it's a very thankful spawn for Timbers Esports there into the closet, because Cintanegra X was going to be able to take a pretty dominant position on the map there, but they're going to have to find a way to reslay in order to get this flag on the move, because that closet position being blocked, being controlled by Timbers Esports is going to force them to have a difficult time picking up this flag before it can get on the move anywhere successfully. Ermgale, he gets taken down front the base. Noble's traded out as well. So once again, Dan, as we continue to watch this match, 4.5 minutes on the clock, and as time continues to dwindle down, the pressure starts to build on Timbers Esports. And in all honesty, we've seen too many defensive stands for Timbers Esports. You want to see them on the move. They have the flag on the move, but it's immediately erased, and it feels like Timbers just really can't get any objective work done.
Timbers haven't really been able to get that kind of all 4 dead to give them the chance to have a clean flag. Instead, they've been pulling it maybe when 1 or 2 are down, trying to force that flag, and they'll often die and give up map control because of it. I will say Gambino is having an impressive game from the POV I've been watching when he has been on the screen, and he really does need to step up. When you think about his experience, and he was previously on the Pittsburgh Knights, he definitely knows what it takes to win these big matches, to qualify for international competition. So he needs to lead the charge here. He needs to bring some of these players with slightly less experience through what a big moment this could be for their careers. Noble, though, is going to be assisting a teammate, and they are going to be pushing into this base, but him and Strikey, they're the last 2 remaining, but they know players are weak, so this is why they're so desperate to be pushing in here.
Yeah, they got to get a way to get a flag on the move. Just nothing being given on the side of Cintanegra, and their defense has been what has been so strong throughout this first game. Like you said, Dan, they capped that first flag so early that they're comfortably cruising to like that 1-0 victory mindset, where when in doubt, play defense, and they've done such a good job up until this point. Nugget is going to be in the base, and he is going to be able to get a flag on the move, and it's going to be a quick one. It's a bottom middle run from Nugget. Slay's coming through for Timbers Esports as well. 2 players from Cintanegra to deal with, but one of them, he stops that flag bottom middle, and now the flag in a very vulnerable position here, as multiple members of Cintanegra are going to be coming off respawn. This is not a guaranteed Timbers cap.
No, it's not, but Noble is in a position to really give them a chance to do so, doing a lot of damage on the players over towards P side. Now he really needs to assist the rest of the team. Unfortunately, Kim Gale is going to be there. So is another player, but double kill, unfortunately, is not going to be enough to get the flag, but it is going to allow him to get the heat wave, and it just feels like he's trying to challenge the world at the moment.
Yeah, he just felt the need to make a play, tried to keep that flag alive. But I mean, that's what we're talking about when we say Cintanegra can play with a defensive mindset. As long as the return comes through, even if they lose the battle of the Slays right there, it's a win in their eyes. Gambino has made his way into the enemy flag once again. So for Timbers Esports, 2 minutes on the clock. You're trying to just punch one of these flags in, and Cintanegra, they should be continuously focused on that defensive stand. But as we hop on board with War, he's got the flag on the move. He's got it to Dynamo side of the map, but decides to try and jump top middle. He's predicted, he's taken down, and with that, that could be the opening Timbers need.
Yep, 3 are dead on the side of Cintanegra X, and Nugget just has to get around this corner, which he does just by the skin of his teeth. And now he can wait, be patient, let those shields recharge, and then this should be a cap. Oh, he goes a little bit too soon. Noble should surely be able to put it in. No, he doesn't put it in either. And surely Timbers are in a position to put this in. Someone's going to be able to grab it. Cintanegra X from distance have been able to stop the flag multiple times, but is anyone in the vicinity? Yes, they are. Nugget ties up the game 1-1.
Maybe not the best statistical game for Nugget so far, but the most important stats put on the board as a flag cap comes through. It's a minute left on the clock, and in under a minute we'll be going into overtime. You can almost guarantee the next cap will win this game. Cintanegra X's defense was so strong for the first 13.5 minutes, but in that last several moments, Timbers Esports have done what it takes to tie this one up. But look at this stand on the other side of the map. Cintanegra with the flagpole coming across the dynamo grenades, already across halfway. These rounds of slays are going to dictate who's going to take round or game 1 of the series. And look at that, the kill feed lights up in red. It's Timbers Esports that find 3. It's up to Lure to do a miracle, but a miracle's not going to happen today. Instead, Gambino with the flag on the move. All 4 players for Cintanegra coming off respawn. They have to act quickly. Gambino's got the flag. He's jumping up on the bridge, and he's going to punch this one in.
This is going to be a different day. Such a different day for these teams, but still a chance to pull this flag. 2 are dead on the side of Timbers, 3 are dead on the side of Timbers, and Cintanegra X now can move this flag.
Way.
Nugget, the last remaining player, and he's trying to hide, he's trying to ambush, but I don't think he's going to be able to spot the flag just yet. They need assistance into overtime, in regular time now. You do have the opportunity to score this flag. Is there anyone? They've got the flag out, so now this is going to be so tough for CNX. And who knows where it went. They're still playing right now, but I don't know if they're able to capture the flag or not, Clutch.
All right, let's watch facial expressions. We can kind of tell what's happening here. That is the Cintanegra X roster. Gameplay still underway. 3 were dead for what we can only assume is Cintanegra X. Labeled as Navi right now. The return's going to come through, and it is going to be a 2-1 victory for
Timbers Esports.
The left side of the stage,
They've
Timbers
done it again.
Esports. They've taken it. They got 2 caps in the last minute. Cintanegra X falling short. They look so strong for so long, but not enough. And that last few moments, Dan, we're not quite sure what went down, but there was a flag stalemate. There was an opportunity to push it to overtime, but Cintanegra X needed to get the return. And I can tell you one thing that didn't happen on our screens that did happen in game is that return did not come through in their favor.
But what a game it was from Timbers. Even though Cintanegra X gave it their best opportunity and the best chance to get a flag cap in those dying moments, it was Nugget, the last remaining player. We were saying, you know, he hasn't had the best statistical game, but he was the one who got that flag cap. He was the one alive for the last stand there to make sure that that flag wasn't easily run in and the game tied up. These are the big moments. I was talking about it. You've got to be able to clutch up. You've got to have that ability to kind of not fall under the pressure in these huge mammoth moments. And Timbers, after getting 3-0'd by CNX earlier on in the tournament in pool play, go 1-0 up. They beat them on Capture the Flag Aquarius, which they lost in the previous series. This is going to be a completely different best of 5, and I'm sure we need to strap ourselves in because I think this is going to be one hell of a series.
Yeah, if you're Cintanegra X, you're kind of kicking yourself there, but Hermigel, 30 kills to his name, couldn't get the job done in the flag department, and Cintanegra X gonna want that one back. What felt like a win, 13.5 minutes of that game for them was stripped away at the end. And what do you know, Dan, veterans in the MX scene, Noble, Nugget, Gambino, these guys have been doing it for a long time. They show that veteran presence in that last minute and a half. They get the job done, and like you said, what we needed to see from Timbers Esports at the start of this series just happened. They came out maybe a little flat at the start, not too much objective play, but they got the job done in game 1, and now we have a series on our hands because you know Cintanegra X are going to be able to rebound in a strong game 2 performance.
Yeah, I mean, when we saw the Slayer in pool play between these two teams, it was very much a favorable one in some of the stages for Cintanegra X, but Timbers also were able to battle back in certain areas as well. It was really one of those kind of topsy-turvy back and forth games, and if it's going to be the same way, it's hard to call which way it's going to go. And considering how close that capture the flag Aquarius was, it is going to come down to, you know, that one individual moment, that one player who is going to be brave and take a challenge where maybe they shouldn't take a challenge, or where the other team isn't maybe expecting them to take that challenge. And I do think that game 1, you know, it says everything about how you never say die, right? I know that they were previously called Legends Never Die, were Timbers Esports. Well, I tell you what, maybe they're living up to their old name here, because they looked down and out in this tournament earlier on in pool play, but they are back, they are showing that they are ready, and they really want that placement in Orlando.
Yeah, these guys are legends in the MX scene from such historic previous tournaments, right? These guys have a legacy behind them, and for Cintanegra X, they're trying to make their own legacy. It's not going to be an easy one. As we take a look at the highlights from game 1, you thought it was going to be all Cintanegra X up until the very end. They looked like they were going to be able to control, to be able to dictate how the pressure on the map was going to be felt. Flag caps, flag pulls were in their favor the entire time, but at the end, it was just enough plays being made by the playmakers on the side of Timbers Esports to punch this one in their favor. And honestly, Dan, with a little bit of luck, it went their way.
It did go their way, and sometimes you just need, you know, Lady Luck to be shining down upon you. This moment was crazy, by the way. Timbers were thinking they were getting that flag in. Cintanegra X stopped them twice, but it was Nugget who was able to put it in and ensure they took that lead, a very important lead as well, as the final moments could have also gone either way. But it is Timbers who are going to be taking the lead 1-0 in this series, going into our Slayer, of course. And I'm so impressed with the change of fortune and also the change of attitude, I think, from this Timbers roster. We were talking about them being, you know, a top 3, a top 2 team here, Wes. And then I think we were made to eat our words when, well, or at least I was made to eat my words when they really struggled at pool play. But they are now showing why I have that belief, why they should be in that question of being one of the top teams in this tournament. And I know it's only the first game, and this could very easily go out of control, and maybe Cintanegra X, they will learn a lesson in that, and they need to be a little bit better in terms of finishing the game off when they have such a lead. But sometimes that's all you need. You just need that one game to give you that little bit of momentum, that little bit of belief to get you into a series. And boy, Timbers need to take this now. They need to roll with this momentum, absolutely fly at their opposition in this Slayer game, and make them believe that you are actually confident as ever.
Well, the good news is we wondered kind of coming into the series, which Timbers Esports were we going to see? Was it Friday or Saturday? Or is there even a next level Sunday Timbers Esports that plays even better than they did yesterday? I'm not going to go that far into that direction until this best of 5 is probably wrapped up. But Timbers Esports playing very similar to their Saturday performances, which bodes well for them, right? Enough of an opportunity to take games from some of the better teams here as they take game 1 against Cintanegra X. And now as we take a look at the map layout, Dan, you have a recharge Slayer in front of you, and Cintanegra X, the individuals on that team have been showing you that they got a ton of individual skill. They can put that shock rifle to use. What can Timbers Esports look to do here in game 2 to try and get this series to a 2-0 lead? Because that would be massive for their chance to take that ticket to Orlando.
Well, I will say that Recharge Ball was game number 1 in the pool play series between these two, and Cintanegra X looked so comfortable on Recharge. Yeah, I know it's an objective game, but honestly, you can carry that those same kind of angles, those same kind of setups when it comes to a Slayer as well. So I would be confident that Cintanegra X are going to give this a great effort here on Recharge. I think that this is one of their better maps, and they will certainly be able to try and put their foot back into this series as we are underway. First kill does go to Timbers, however, and if they can actually, you know, lead from this, if they can jump from this, take a few more, and get that little bit of momentum, that could certainly help. But what positioning this is from Sepstars, finds the double kill, and this might just give them camouflage control because of it.
Camo's still bottom middle for now. 3 players die on each side of them stage, and as the players are coming off respawn, you see who can quickly get to that camouflage. It is going to be Timbers Esports. Although they lose a couple of members trying to compete for it, they are going to be able to secure that camouflage. And now Nugget, he's already made his way towards elevator. This is a very fast push from him, taking down Sepstars with the help of Gambino. And you can already see how aggressive Nugget wants to be with this camouflage. He's going straight to pipes to get that shock rifle.
Oh, he was no shields. He could have maybe tried to just hit that body around the corner, but he may not have seen it. Of course, player outlines help us see those kind of things. The next shot almost connects with the shock rifle, but Nugget, as you say, is playing so aggressive at the moment, really pushing onto the Cintanegra X roster, and he's making it count. Nugget has stepped up individually. Maybe wasn't statistically amazing in game number 1, but he was the one who made those big money moves to ensure they won that capture the flag game. And now he's trying to do something similar here. Had the camouflage, has the shock rifle, a lot of responsibility on his shoulders.
Yeah, the only statistic you're looking at after game 1 is 2-1 flag caps, and Nugget was a big part to punching that one into making sure that that game at least was going to go into overtime. They ended up making the plays, but here in game 2, it's Nugget getting a few kills now to his name. At 4-0 and 1 shock rifle in hand. Let's see if he can hit a couple of shock rifle shots. Unfortunately, Dolan hits him with the left right. The strafe's too clean. The shots don't come through, and now Nugget forced to try and play his life back. Blue, and you best believe Cintanegra X want to take him down.
There we go. Connects again with the body. Tries to line one up. Will get another assist, and really showing how important it is to be hitting your shots with a shock rifle. Timbers on 19 kills. Cintanegra just the 13, and you could see in Nugget's player cam, he was trying to hype up the boys, trying to hype up the team. They are doing this. This is not something that we would have necessarily expected after their performance of day 1. Strikey, by the way, is on 10 kills, but Gambino trying just to slow things down, trying to utilize this camo a little bit, trying to get behind enemy lines, and he's doing so well. Dolan, the last remaining player. 3 were dead once again, 3 are dead once more. Timbers are starting to snowball out of control.
Yeah, when we saw Strikey start to sway out yesterday, that was when we saw Timbers Esports at their best. And once again, Strikey starting to find a flow here on the main stage. And what better time to do so? It's the elimination semifinals. And Strikey, 11-3-5, starting to pop off. He wants this 2-0 lead in this series. He wants a ticket to Disney World. Let's see if Cintanegra X are going to be able to fight back here. You see Blue War lands some perfect shots. Miguel, he picks up 2 in the kill feed as well. So just when momentum feels like it's going into Strikey and the boys over on the red side of the stage, his hands, Cintanegra X starting to fight back. It's a 6-kill game. It's not over yet, Dan, but you need to grab momentum. You got to grab some control, and it probably starts with that shock rifle or a camo coming up.
Completely forgot about Disney. That's an extra incentive. Playing at Orlando at a major international competition, that's great. Disney as well, off the back of it, that's a double bubble. And that is some double trouble that you'll be looking for if you are able to get there. But first, you've got to win this series, 28-20. Timbers Esports are absolutely frying at the moment. Strikey with 12 kills, shock rifle in hand. Camouflage is going to be coming up. Gambino's getting aggressive, and Strikey's looking to try and join him. They are actively seeking out the Cintanegra roster right now. I said that this is a good map for Cintanegra, but it seems like Timbers are trying to counter their play by just running at them, by maybe playing with a little bit less structure, a little bit sporadic with their play, and it seems like at the moment Cintanegra X are struggling to deal with it.
Okay, Lure, what can you do? Can you make a play with camo? He finds one, but kills across the board. As long as Timbers Esports are able to answer whatever Lure damage is done in the kill feed towards their own while they take down his teammates, that was massive. They extend the lead back to 9. That camo, it's removed, so a win condition from Cintanegra X, it's removed from the equation. How can Timbers Esports continue this momentum to punch this ticket in the game 2 victory as they look to close this one out? 14 more kills to go. It's a 9-kill deficit still for Cintanegra X, and just nothing going right for them. Just not the same teamwork, the same level of individual skill even that we were seeing all weekend long. You can maybe tell that the moment is what Timbers Esports are starting to thrive in, and the moment may be too big for Cintanegra X.
37-29, and I do think we're going to learn a lesson in the next couple of minutes, because we have seen Timbers in this position before with a very commanding lead in a Slayer game, and they have thrown it away. Are they going to be that Friday Timbers once more, or can they show us Sunday Timbers is entirely different gravy? 6-kill advantage, it's still enough to be able to play the way in which you want. I think you start to panic when that gap closes to around 3 or 4, and maybe it is going to slow with Sepstar starting to hit some shots. He connects with another. Suddenly it's a 5-kill game, and Cintanegra X are slowly but surely working their way back into this one, thanks to the man that you have on your screen now. 11 kills, shock rifles doing damage. He connects with another body, and with 6 minutes remaining, still plenty of time for this one. You can afford to slow it down if you need to, if you're on the Timbers roster.
Let's see how Stepstars is going to play this one. You got to get it within 3 when you reach that 45 kill mark. You don't want to leave too much room for error. They've got it within 5 now. It was up to 10 at one point. Make it 4. Stepstars positioning himself unbelievably to be able to pick up some of these kills. Needs to hit a shock rifle shot to stay alive. Can't quite find the head, and that's going to cost him his life there. 42 to 38 now. Make it a 3-kill game. A great job once again from the players over in the Pipes location. And with map control, you can start to see Cintanegra X making plays, but Camo, it's been picked up by Noble, the shock rifle in hand. He's able to turn another one towards his team's favor. Another lead, only 3, make it 2. Kills being traded across the board once again, but Cintanegra X have done everything to come back right into this one.
Noble had to hit that shot, had the camo, had the jump, but missed. 3-kill advantage still though for Timbers. And you feel like the series is really on this game. If Timbers can go 2-0 up, you better be believing they are going to be the favorites to go to Orlando. But if Cintanegra X are able to tie this up from a comeback, the momentum would shift in favor of the blue team. 3 kills between it. Sword in the hands of Strikey, though. He can certainly do a lot of damage and actually just uses his BR on this occasion. 47 to 43. Manages to make it 48 as well. This is the right play. Get aggressive with the sword. Assert your dominance. 49 to 43. They just need one more to Timbers, and they'll be going 2-0 up in this series, Wes.
One more kill. Strikey trying to hunt him down, trying to find a way to end this one before anything can be done from Cintanegra. And in the kill feed, Luor's going to get taken down, and that's going to do it. A completely different story this time around. Timbers Esports are now up 2-0 in this series. Cintanegra X looking for all the answers here as they go into game 3.
It's crazy that we've even got to this point. I remember day one, Lottie asked me about this series, and I said, well, I'm expecting this to be an easy 3-0 for Timbers. They should be taking down CNX comfortably. And then suddenly they get 3-0'd themselves. And I was left scratching my head, perplexed, saying, what on earth has happened to this roster? Some of these giants in the LATAM region who have been dominating for several years in different ways. And of course, Gambino previously on the Pittsburgh Knights. But it does seem like Sunday is just a different day for them. They have managed to go 2-0 up in the series, Wes, but the job is not done yet. They still have to win another map to make sure that they go through to the next round. And of course, secure that place in Orlando as well. Strikey with 18 kills was the standout player for sure for Timbers, but everyone played their part. Even though Noble went negative and he only had the 7 kills, you've got to remember that camouflage and the shock rifle shots that he was hitting, that really allowed the rest of the team off spawn to be able to push into certain areas and regain control. What's going wrong, though, for CNX, Wes? Is it just the fact that Timbers have stepped up and are bettering them now, or is there any clear mistakes that you're seeing?
Yeah, I'm looking for the teamwork out of CNX, and I'm just not seeing it here today, and that's a tough time to not show up because you know how much is on the line here for CNX. They've looked strong all weekend long outside of this one series they played against Cintanegra in that winner's bracket, and you know, I didn't think they'd just drop the ball here and now, and there's still series to go. There's still game 3. And if you can take game 3, you can extend it. You can potentially build some confidence. But right now, nothing really to build confidence off of here in the first 2 games, because what feels like a game you probably should have won in game 1 gets taken from you. And then game 2, the pace was set by Timbers Esports from the start to the finish. They had a lot of control of the sword, the shock rifle. The camos were in their favor as well throughout the match. And when you give a team that much opportunity, that much map control, and you allow them to kind of dictate the pace like Timbers was able to do, you're asking for a recipe of disaster.
Well, we can take a look at the replays of match number 2, which was filled with shock rifle shots, camouflage plays, and of course all the other good stuff that we often see on Recharge. Sepstars did his best to try and bring them back into things later on in that game, but it does seem like Timbers have found that consistency that I was hoping we would see. Some good starts, some good endings, and now they are starting to put it all together. Similarly to what Alter Esports struggled with earlier on in the tournament, it has to be said. Timbers were very similar in pool play, that they weren't really able to carry on their momentum during and through to the end game. But they are going to be delighted to be 2-0 up. And really, after Sepstars beat them in pool play, they were probably thinking maybe they made the wrong decision with the Gambino addition. But it looks like it could be the right one if they can get one more map on the board. It will be an oddball game, and that is going to be, you know, a chance maybe for Cintanegra X to try and show why they are so good at oddball and why they were so good yesterday in the oddball games, but they still want to get it done. And maybe Cintanegra X might have had their heads drop a little bit, because when you are going into a series maybe confidently expecting to win, and then suddenly you find yourself 2-0 down, that is such a difficult place to bring yourself back from, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a place that maybe a lot of these players haven't really been, especially in the LAN environment, on the main stage, under the bright lights and the light show that is there. So it's all about taking a deep breath and understanding that this is still a winnable series. You're not out of it yet, but on the other side of the stage, Timbers Esports, they are feeling themselves. You know how confident they are, because not only do they have momentum, the 2-0 lead to play around, they have the experience on how to close the door on series like this out. And you know how bad they want it to, especially after their poor performance over in the pool play against this very team. So revenge, it's sweet, Dan, and I feel like it's almost a date with destiny now as Timbers Esports looks to close the door on this series. The oddball game 3 really is that saving grace, I feel, for Cintanegra X. If they can just have the same level of success that they've been having in their oddballs throughout this weekend, then they can extend this series. And in that moment where you extend the series and you're saying all we need is a game 4 win to get to a game 5 where everything's on the line, that's all you're asking for at this point.
Sometimes that's all you can ask for, is just gotta step up. Everyone now just has to take this series by the scruff of its neck and say, look, this is maybe the only time in our careers we are going to have this moment to play for this amount of prize money, to be able to get to go to Orlando and play an international competition. It has to be now. You can't have that great pool play day, that great day on Saturday, and then throw it all away on the Sunday just because you are under that little bit of pressure. As for Timbers, are they going to start to feel the pressure? Now they start to think about, oh, we're one map away from Orlando, we're one map away from top 3, we're one map away from stopping any potential Cintanegra versus Cintanegra X ever happening again in this tournament, which I guess would kind of do us a favor, because it's been difficult to call those games just with the names being so similar. But
you're a Cintanegra fan again.
Yeah,
you're on the team.
I'm part of the org. I'm basically the manager at this point, it has to be said. Live fire oddball is where we're going though, Clutch. And I said it, we saw oddball yesterday, or Friday, excuse me, when Cintanegra X absolutely demolished Timbers on oddball recharge. Do you think that maybe oddball is just going to be a really good opportunity for them to get back into the series, or do you feel like game 3 maybe favors Timbers?
I think it is, but you got to worry about the overshield, right? I think that so often do we see the overshield dictate how this game type usually goes, and not a lot of prioritization on the sides of Cintanegra X on those power-ups throughout this series. You want to see that change for them if they want to have that same level of success. You also want to figure out a way to get the S7 into Sepstar's hands. He's been popping off with snipes all weekend long. He had a shock rifle momentarily in the last game, but it was almost too late when you're trying to climb back from a 7-kill deficit. But we're hopping into gameplay, Dan, and who better to start off with than Sepstars from Cintanegra X, the guy that needs to step up for his team. We know he's capable of it, but will he bring the light? Gambino's going to shut him down early, and that's a massive kill from the side of Timbers Esports to try and stop the momentum that Cintanegra X want to build.
Game number 3. Orlando on the line. Are Timbers going to be able to continue this momentum and find themselves playing in international competition in a couple of months? Or are Cintanegra X finally going to find that same form that we saw from Friday and Saturday? 3 are dead at the moment for Timbers, so it's been a really good start for Cintanegra X, even though they haven't got the time. But just like that, it's all 4 dead. Timbers will fall, and now Cintanegra X can look to set up. They're searching for spawns at the moment, and they've got overshoot and snipe. All the pieces are being put together now. You've just got to make it work with some ball time.
Just got to hit some shots. One gets hit. Trades are coming through, and that's going to stop any ball time from being acquired during this overshield snipe stint. And just a fight you need to win is lost, and all of a sudden Timbers Esports remove all the power that we once thought Cintanegra had.
Noble picks up the sniper rifle. This man has stepped up with a shock rifle previously. Sniper, can he get the body? No, he can't. Second bite of the cherry. Doesn't get an opportunity at the third. And unfortunately, when you miss those shots, it really does allow your opposition to push up on you, get aggressive, and of course, then take map positioning and fire weapon away from you. Timbers, they lose several. Cintanegra X are scoring. They're trying to reposition and rotate with that ball so that Lua can watch over them, and he's starting to connect with some shots as well. These are the shots you need to see hit by Cintanegra X if they are going to get back into this series.
Overshield coming up in 10 seconds. Who's going to win the battle with the Slades? Some trades coming through. It's going to be Cintanegra with numbers and positioning for this Overshield now. War just hitting a crucial shot under the elbow player just makes it so easily obtained for an Overshield for their team because they're able to just transition all of their focus to the right side of the map. When they do that, War is able to help his team out, get this Overshield. Now he's putting it to use. Found himself the first and an assist, and with that, the ball time starting to rack up significantly now in Cintanegra X's hands.
Timber's starting to crumble a little bit. Is the pressure getting to them ever so slightly? Because they can almost taste Orlando. They can taste the churros at Disneyland at this point. But are they going to get ripped away by the Cintanegra X roster, who are looking to instead try and find themselves getting an autograph signed by Mickey Mouse? Right now, they're getting a little bit closer. 60 seconds on the board already. Noble, though, with the heat wave, he's trying to make a difference. They're desperate to get this ball off of Cintanegra, but look at the rotation coming through. Riemgel is going to be able to move that ball far enough away that he was able to get an extra 10, 15 seconds on the board that they maybe shouldn't have got.
And the ball's in a pretty vulnerable spot, right? Bottom pillars is such a difficult place to try and get that ball off, especially when there's multiple players of Cintanegra still over towards the green side of the map to try and deal with. Nugget has found himself the snipe. Needs to start hitting shots now because this round one, it's gotten out of hand, and it's up to almost 70 points and climbing. Cintanegra X showing you that their strong oddball play is not done yet.
Nugget needs to hit something because they've got to push, they've got to get aggressive, they need to get the ball out of their hands. They do get some kills, and there's the body shot. 3 are dead for Cintanegra. This is the opportunity for Timbers now to really put some time on the board. There is a play ball, though, so that means they have to at least be aware of where Cintanegra are spawning, make sure they take them down. There's a lot of damage being done, but still no ball time being gathered. 2 will fall, but unfortunately the snipe going down. Timbers were not able to really capitalize on the members that they managed to take down from Cintanegra there. Great response off spawn from the blue team.
Cintanegra trying to end this round one, trying to put a statement in the stadium here. They're not done yet. They're not going. Can they end this one? 90 points and climbing, just 10 needed, and Timber's still looking for their 10th point of round one. This is a dominant performance, and on the back of Sepstars and War's 11 and 10 kills. When you're slaying like that, then good things are going to happen. It hasn't been here for them all series long, but what a better time to show up than game 3.
99 points, but the ball gets played, and now Timbers have been able to pick up that ball as well, but 2 of their players are also on the floor, on the death screen, and you've got to play absolutely flawlessly at this point. As for Cintanegra, they just need to drop on that ball and pick it up, which they will do. Round number 1 goes in favor of CNX, and they want to take this to a game 4. They want to show that it wasn't just a fluke. What we saw in pool play. Instead, it was just because they are good enough to win this series. Round number 2 has to be very different for Timbers. The beauty of the new style of oddball in Halo Infinite is they get a hard reset. It's round-based. They don't have to worry about the fact they were being trounced a little bit, but oh my word, maybe they're going to be trounced some more as Leo shows us how to use a battle rifle.
Putting Gambino down as they pick up the ball from bottom middle. A nice nade's gonna take Gambino as soon as he respawns too. So massive kills coming through. You have to think Overshield's gonna be in their hands as well, but Nugget, he's made his way off respawn to try and secure it. There's a couple of members trying to fight for this on each side of the map, and somehow, some way, nobody on Cintanegra is in a position to recoup that Overshield from the ground. Kills are going to come through. 3 go down for Timbers Esports. And finally, no. Overshield's still on the ground. Sepstars has made his way. He's got 3 players now in front of him to deal with. He's got a little bit of extra shield, but it's going down quickly due to some grenades. Sepstars with the killing spree now. Snipe in hand. Can't quite hit some of the no-scopes, but somehow the hardest shot comes through for him. And it was Chaos Dam, but Cintanegra are going to come off. Benefactor through the Chaos with a 24-point lead, and the ball gets reset.
Ball does get reset ever so slightly. Cintanegra X have been far better than Timbers at actually playing this objective. I mean, only 10 seconds achieved by Timbers across both rounds at the moment. Really have not been able to prioritize that ball, whereas Cintanegra's rotations have been spot on, really avoiding the spawners, getting towards their own teammates, and really racking up that time whenever they have the opportunities to do so. Can Timbers now do something, though, with this time? They do have the ball. A couple of players have fallen. If Noble can win this fight, though, oh, misses that last shot just above his head. Oh, that could have made such a difference. And now, because he went down, Dolan is going to have to play this ball eventually, you imagine. Overshield's popping as well. Perfect timing for Cintanegra to take control of the map, because now they're rewarded with a power-up.
It's not the game mode that's the problem right now, Dan. It's crucial shots that are being missed continuously on the side of Timbers Esports, and that's going to give Cintanegra a little bit of confidence that they probably didn't have coming into the series, or coming into the game, I should say. And more BR fights continue to go in Cintanegra X's hands. Not only is this game 3 going to go their way, but momentum in this series is going to shift, and confidence on Timbers Esports is going to start to dwindle as well. So you at least want to see them start to hit some shots that they're typically have been hitting throughout this series. Cintanegra X's individual skill starting to make a difference for the first time in the series.
Dolan gets stuck. That will give it a little bit of an opening here for Timbers. 3 are up at the moment, but ball still being rotated by Hrimgel, and Cintanegra again showing their priorities are in order. 2 are dead though from Cintanegra, so they'll probably have to play this ball, you'd imagine. Especially when Gambino is pushing up and getting aggressive with the heat wave. Oh, Sepstars though takes down his replacement and says, I tell you what, this series is not over yet, Sunshine. Timbers, 3 are down. Noble though doing what he can to try and stop this ball time.
Trying to stop this ball time from being acquired, but Timbers Esports having a more successful round here in round 2. Even though maybe the chaos just continuing to ensue on both sides of the map. No real control for either team. Noble in a 1v1 with Sepstars, forced to back up. Sepstars has a little bit of help coming through. And wisely, Noble playing his life is going to be rewarded with another opportunity to trade, and that's a successful trade, I would say, for him. He was in a tough position, got out of it, and made the best of his life. But let's see what the rest of the boys can do now, as Cintanegra have broken into house, and they're starting to steal everything, Dan. They've gotten a few kills, and the ball is back in their hands.
This is far better from Cintanegra in this stage. Still just keeping that ball away from Timbers. Even if Slays are going in favor of Timbers at times, they just haven't really been able to wrestle that ball back from the Cintanegra roster. Even Gambino's having to kind of brute force his way in. You can see they desperately want to play this ball, and with the last bullet before the reload will connect with the heat wave, but unfortunately goes down, so still no ball time for Timbers. Cintanegra X keep their lead. It is a slender one, but at the moment with 2 minutes on the clock, it is enough that would take us to a game 4. Timbers have to start getting some sort of structure with their setups here. Ball finally grabbed. Lure is in a position to stop this ball though. Does Noble know? He didn't, and he will have to play it.
How is the ball guy just by himself is the big question here. Someone cannot come through big door. It's Lure that does it. He's able to not only take down the ball carrier, interrupt the entire Timbers Esports setup by himself, but he's able to win a fight on a Gambino after it. So Cintanegra is going to be able to get the ball in hand momentarily. Sepstars is taken down immediately, but oh baby, the repulsor on the grenade from the respawners in house, making a nice kill from Lure, doing so much for his team. And in the meantime, Cintanegra have been able to get that oddball, but I mean, that's a massive blunder, Dan. We got to talk about it. Timbers Esports had a complete setup outside towards green, and it's one player that gets behind enemy lines that does probably the most predictable route, and he makes Timbers Esports setup crumble.
71-39, and again, Cintanegra managing to elude Timbers when it comes to that ball gathering and the ball playing. Cintanegra, even though they had less players, still were able to have their hands on the ball and get it off the map before Timbers could even think about a setup. 2 dead on one side, 3 dead on the side of Timbers. Noble has to try and fight tooth and nail for this overshield, but it looks like he's going to give up on it, or maybe just try and reposition. Heatwave is up. That's a great call from the coach, and he gets the shots. That is going to be big for Noble. Now you've got to get aggressive. Give room for your team so they can push up, grab that Ovi, and you do the damage with the Heatwave. Somehow he stays alive. All 4 dead for Cintanegra. This is the opportunity for Timbers.
What a play from Noble to reposition, to deny Overshield. Not only that, but to be such a distraction, like you said, to get into the house, to stay alive that long, and to find a kill at the end of it. It gave Timbers Esports maybe some hope to push this to a third round. But 20 points needed, a minute left on the clock from Timbers Esports. They got to act quickly. They need a few slays, and trades are going to be coming through. And Nugget, the overextension towards tower all the way to green, maybe too long of a route to help his ball carrier, because once again, Timbers Esports kind of lead their ball carrier out to dry. He gets taken down. In the meantime, War has found himself the snipe, and he's got a little bit of pressure on him, but he's been hitting shots all series long, so maybe he can put this snipe to work even with this pressure in his face. Unfortunately, too many players. He goes for the ninja, and that's a massive kill from Gambino for the double to potentially allow a last chance setup for Timbers Esports here in game 3.
It was a very sloppy setup previously from Timbers, but now they're getting gifted another opportunity here. 2 dead on either side, though, and of course, one is holding the ball back to back. The last stand. One has the heat wave, one has the ball. They are really racking up some time, but where are Cintanegra? It looks like they are waiting. No, they're pushing in now. They've got to hit these shots. They've got to win these fights, which they will, and they still have a 5-second lead, and they've got ball control. Timbers find themselves 3 dead. Cintanegra are on the brink of winning map number 3.
Dolan with the double is going to put a statement punctuation on Cintanegra's tournament here as he pushes this potentially to a round 3, breaks the last setup of Timbers Esports right now. And Noble, he wants that ball. There's time ticking, 5 seconds left, make it 4. And although they do get a second touch on it, it's going to be denied. The overshield's not going to come into play. And that's going to do it. Cintanegra X now in this series, actively taking game 3, have a little bit of life behind them. And it's not just the fact that they took game 3. There were individual fights consistently going their way, Dan, that make you believe Cintanegra X could push this one the distance.
It really is going to do absolute wonders for their confidence, just getting back into this series in such a commanding way in that oddball game. It's what we expected. We know that Cintanegra X have been very solid when it comes to oddball. There's the stats on your screen. Just look at the amount of kills that the Cintanegra roster were able to find themselves in. I mean, Sepstars with 29. He maybe didn't have the best of games to begin with. Maybe the pressure was getting him to a little bit, but he seems to have settled those nerves and is now playing like the Sepstars that we saw for the last couple of days, because he has often been the difference maker. I'm not saying he's the only player on this roster that can make the difference, but he really was a player who stepped up time and time again over the past couple of days. As for Timbers, just seems like they didn't really have the coordination and the setups and the structure to be able to win that game. They were sometimes breaking the setup and winning fights, but the ball had already gone by the time they had managed to get to that side of the map. The rotations were far too good from the CNX roster. That's certainly what I saw. Wes, was there anything else that you noticed from that game from both these teams?
I mean, we saw some individual fights heavily go into the favor of Cintanegra X, and when that's happening, that's when you start to get nervous about a team. Even with the 2-0 lead in the series, when individual fights are consistently going into one team's favor, what that does to the mindset of these players is like, hey, I'm better than these guys. Enough's enough for the side of Cintanegra X. And on the other side, you start to get nervous, and what those nerves can do to trickle down into a game 3 loss is they can trickle into a game 4, even into a game 5. It's very difficult to kind of recapture what you were able to accomplish in games 1 and 2 after you start to lose. Did Richie's cat really just turn the slider on my Go XLR? My mic slider is all the way off. That's incredible. Anyways, you start to lose momentum, whatever I was saying. But I mean, these cats, once again, wilding out, and what a better time to do it.
I mean, momentum lost by perhaps Timbers, and also the cats killing your momentum quite literally as well with a slider. They were like, we've had enough of that, Wes, shut up and let's move on. Let's go to another map, because I'm sure that's how Cintanegra are going to be feeling right now. They just want to get into game number 4. They'll have the momentum behind them now. They have that belief, but we'll look back at the replays from map number 3, and it was pretty much the Cintanegra story for the majority of the game. There were moments where Timbers were shining and looking like they were going to be able to bring it back, especially in that round 2. They got close, but unfortunately their structure was just not there. Their setup's not strong enough, and it was too easy in the end for it to be broken by Cintanegra over and over again. And also just the overshield control was supreme. I know there was a one moment where we saw Timbers able to get an overshield in the late stages thanks to an incredible push from Noble, but just wasn't enough to be able to generate enough ball time for them. So I think that as we move on to maps number 4 and maybe map number 5, we really need to see both of these teams continue to prioritize that kind of power-up that is going to be on the map, if it's going to be on the map, of course, and make it count, make it a difference, because it has been the real thing that separated these two teams is consistent overshields or consistent camouflages to be able to really help you out in some of these scenarios, Wes.
Absolutely. I think we preach it just about every series we cast, Dan. It's overshield control is just so important. So often does that power-up control, the power weapon control, transition immediately into opportunity on the map and what you're able to accomplish as far as the objectives are concerned, and immediately there you're transitioning into game wins and series wins from that point. I think you did touch on it pretty well, where if we wanted to harp on Timbers Esports' strategy, some of the times their carriers with the oddball was caught out left for dry, where when you think Timbers Esports is playing with every advantage, all of a sudden their setup is where the opportunity lied for Cintanegra X, and one player being able to break setup should never happen, especially in such a isolated location like green. And at the one point when the oddball carrier was outside, you know players are going to come through that big door. Someone's got to be watching that, especially someone's got to be near the oddball carrier in order to help him if someone does come through the big door and decide to try and interrupt the setup. But not a lot of time to really fix those mistakes as we hop into a game 4. It's going to have to be very quickly changed if Timbers want to put an end to this series before going to a game 5. And if I'm Timbers Esports, I want nothing to do with the game 5, because I think by that time your confidence will be at an all-time low after winning the first 2 games of the series.
Certainly. I mean, confidence is everything when you're on a main stage, when that pressure is starting to kick in. For these guys, I cannot stress enough what an amazing opportunity this is, and what a big moment it could be for some of these players' careers to have the chance to go across to North America, or just, well, it's not very far, I guess, in comparison to where Europe have to go, but from Mexico over towards, where are we going to be? Orlando. I mean, that is going to be a trip that I'm sure would be a memory for quite some time. The chance to play on the international scene, play against some of the biggest and best teams in the world, from a chance where you can really put yourself maybe up into that top 16, that top 12, and also get some incredible prize money. Even though the prize money is amazing here at this event, it gets even better in Orlando. We'll look at the map overlay in a little while so we can start talking about map number 4, Wes. But I do think that from what we've seen in maps 1, 2, and 3, we've seen 2 different sides of both of these teams. We saw a Cintanegra X roster that looked very cold in maps 1 and 2. Didn't look like they were ready for this series whatsoever. But then an explosive and kind of a team who was ready and set in map number 3. A team that looked prepared, they looked structured, they looked like a team who were ready to win this series. And you could say it's the same on the flip side as well for Timbers. They looked amazing, they looked explosive in games 1 and 2, and then they fell flat in game number 3. And with such a large map pool, I think that does happen sometimes. You are going to have some sort of maps and game types that don't really go your way, but we will see if game 4 is going to make a difference for you. Do you think we're going to a game number 5 here, Wes, or do you think game number 4 will find our victor in Timbers?
Yeah, I'm not trying to just put copium into the chat or build optimism. I do actually think we're going to a game 5. I think Cintanegra X is the better team, and I do think that they came out a little flat at the end of game 1 and game 2. They just couldn't get on their feet. Game 3 showed me a lot more of the Cintanegra X we've been seeing all weekend long. And the fact that they were able to show me that in that game 3 gives me a lot of hope, gives me a lot of promise to get to that game 5. But knowing the map mode for game 4 would be a little bit of a benefit here as we try to predict which way this one's going to go. On the other side of the stage, though, Timbers Esports, we talk about it all the time, Dan. Their experience in Halo as competitors, they've been here, they've done that. They should know how to close this series before it gets to 5.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda often is the scenario for some of these players. And we can presume the game 4 is going to be a Strongholds, right? That would be an assumption after we've seen a Capture the Flag and after we've seen an Oddball. I apologize, I forgot, and I didn't actually write it down. I only wrote down the first 3 maps because we've seen so many 3s today and over the entire weekend. I wasn't entirely sure what game number 4 was going to be for this tournament, but I'm sure when the map overlay comes back up, we will be reminded. So apologies,
if I had
guys.
to guess,
that one is on me.
It's a Stronghold.
Stronghold Streets, confirmation from the team.
I guessed that before we got it. Okay.
Was that just the process of elimination as well?
Yes.
You were thinking, what maps have we seen so
I
far?
haven't seen the Streets, and we haven't seen the Strongholds, and Lord knows that that's a popular game type, so that is what we're going to have on our hands.
Well, we got there in the end. And between us, and mainly with your process of elimination and my stalling, we know now what game number 4 is going to be. So Stronghold Streets, Wes, you said maybe we've got a better idea when we know what the game type is going to be. What is that better idea? How do you see this one going? Do you see it favoring either of these squads?
I love Stronghold Streets for Cintanegra X. I think it really shines their ability to play at a faster pace. I don't think Timbers likes to play at that super hyper aggressive style, fast pace that a lot of the top teams like to play at. And I think the Cintanegra X, when they can get the ball rolling downhill, good things will happen. It's just a matter of can they get control, because right now Rockets and Bulldog Shotgun are so influential in how this map mode combo usually goes. And as long as you don't allow Timbers Esports to control those weapons, you don't even honestly need them in your hands. You just need to get them removed from the map. You're going to have a lot more success, I feel, with just play styles alone.
Game 5 is going to be Slay Live Fire if we get there. And I tell you what, Wes, with our history, and I won't curse it because actually, no, at this point, I always say, oh, well, we always get Game 5s, and then we do get the Game 5. So maybe it's not a curse. Maybe I have to say that for us to get the Game 5 here. So if you are a neutral, if you want to see this go to a Game 5, then maybe you want to see this going in favor of Cintanegra X. Stronghold Streets is going to be where we land, where the train does arrive in its destination. Who, though, is going to be able to show us what they're made of? Are we going to see Timbers close out this series and punch their ticket to Orlando? Well, that's a lot of train references I've just thrown in there. Or are Cintanegra X going to take us to a Game 5 for a final stop and a final chance at them being the team that goes to Orlando? That's the big question, Wes, and we're going to answer it very shortly. Some of these players have really stepped up already, individually have been incredible. Let's see whether they can step up now in one of the biggest moments of some of these guys' careers. Game 4 is underway.
You talked about Sepstar stepping up for Cintanegra X in Game 3. He's the main slayer for that Cintanegra X squad, but he's going to need a little bit of help from the rest of the team. They've been helping all weekend long, so you know they're capable of it. It's just a matter of will they step it up here and now. Still all of Cintanegra X here stuck in Tram as they try to fight out of it. It is going to be Rockets in the hands of Timbers Esports for now, but not a lot of success being found with those Rockets. Still one in the chamber for Noble as we hop on board with him, and Cintanegra X have made their way over to B. That's exactly where Noble needs to head with these Rockets, and he's going to do so.
Big kills from Noble to make sure that Timbers can try and recapture Arcade here and start to score some points of their own, and now they can maybe look to try and collapse on station, but a player from Cintanegra X has already been able to escape. I think Noble is aware of that. That's why he's repositioning ever so slightly so that he can either watch down towards driveway or look towards A if someone has gone that way. Setstars is the player who's flanking. If they can deal with these original arrivals, then maybe they can suddenly turn their attention over towards A, or you can flip C. Setstars is actually going back and forth. He has no idea where he wants to go at the moment. That is the problem with flanking. If you are not quick enough, if you are not with your team, then you end up just doing nothing in the end. And because of it, Timbers have been able to score a solid 32 seconds without being contested.
A solid 32, but not too big of a deficit for Cintanegra X to worry about right now. It's still very early in the game, and just like that, 3 go down. Cintanegra X are going to be able to hop in B, hop in A, and if they can take down Nugget on PD, they can flip this entire map then, and they can get to Tram in time to potentially hold a trip cap for a bit. A couple of members did spawn towards the shotgun. You're seeing the pressure from Cintanegra X. They want to hold this trip cap.
Still ahead are Timbers, but as you said, Cintanegra X with a little bit of a trip cap gives them that lead. First Wocket is a whiff. A Wocket whiff. That sounds like an ice cream that you could probably purchase in England. And if it isn't, maybe I will make it and I'll become a billionaire. A and C in control now for Timbers. So even though Rockets were in control of Cintanegra, they were not able to put them to good use. So that is an incredible counter that we've just seen from Timbers. It's so difficult sometimes knowing the Rockets are in possession of your enemy, but when you can suss them out and throw grenades their way, you really can make a big difference as the Bulldog hits hard.
Always remember me when you become a billionaire for that brilliant idea, Dan.
I will.
I'd appreciate
it. I'll give you
a
a 25% cut if you shave your head.
25%. Absolutely. I'll shave every hair on my body for that. As we get back into gameplay, Nugget on screen.
Check.
Now a significant lead for Timbers Esports, 70 points and climbing. Cintanegra X have done a lot right here so far, Dan, but somehow, some way, Timbers Esports with a trip cap now in control, starting to apply a lot of pressure onto Cintanegra. And all of a sudden, the moment of this series starts to weigh in on the Cintanegra X heads. What can they do to get out of this situation, get back into this game?
Our Timbers are starting to go out of control. They're starting to think about Orlando, the dizzy heights of the rides they can ride at Disneyland if they are able to get there. 162 to 35. Cintanegra X are falling to pieces in front of our very eyes. Remember, guys, Cintanegra X beat Timbers Esports in pool play. Sepstars used to be on this roster. So many things that become a factor when we think about pressure for both of these teams, but Timbers are still piling that pressure onto Cintanegra X, and they are getting closer and closer to international competition.
Big kill by Noble to take down Sepstars. He had the Bulldog. Fortunately, it's traded back from Dolan, but again, Gambino in a position to not only get one, he turns two. A beautiful predictive grenade onto the player on the stairs. Gives Timbers Esports control. Again, can't secure the rockets for the moment. They're going to be down top stairs. Cintanegra need to find a way to secure those rockets. They're down 200 to 35 and climbing. They are able to get into B, potentially find those rockets. And this is the moment, Dan. This is the moment where if they want to go to Orlando, they have to play perfect.
They did temporarily have 4 dead on the side of Timbers, and they are getting aggressive on these spawns as well. Rimgal with the Stalker makes it a double kill. And boy, does Cintanegra X need multi-kills. They need individuals to step up at this point and seize this moment. Otherwise, they will find themselves falling victim of a Game 4 going in favor of their enemies. They're spawning over towards PD. Rimgal is fighting the world at the moment, but unfortunately, not able to stay alive. And if Timbers can capitalize on these deaths, then maybe they can start to take control once more, but they're still not scoring. Cintanegra X still have both B and C, but finally Timbers break into B, but A's now being flipped. This is a good period of play for Cintanegra.
Sepstars has to go to a stronghold right now. They lost B for free as Sepstars picked up a double over towards A. He doesn't make his way over to A either, so it just delays the opportunity that Cintanegra X would have had to be scoring points. In my opinion, Dan, they have to push a trip cap. They need to figure out a way to get some slays, and unfortunately, losing your main slayer at the time is not going to help that equation from taking place. They are going to be able to hold on to A and C momentarily, but it's that B stronghold that they're having such a hard time all game long so far. Luor now on screen with some great commando shots, able to help take down one, but Nugget somehow finds a double there on the commando hull, and because of that, with rockets coming up, Cintanegra X are going to have such a difficult time trying to continue to score.
We talk about nerves, we talk about pressure. Timbers at the moment, they are so close to getting top 3 and getting a spot at Orlando, but Cintanegra X are scoring successfully, and they've got a lot of time, but B now taken by Timbers, and they've got players down, and they have the rocket launcher. All the pieces to this puzzle of finishing in the top 3 are starting to be put together at the moment. Cintanegra X have lost 2. It could be 3 here as well. Strikey gets the kill, and now C's going to be reset by Nugget. Timbers Esports are slowly on their way to international competition.
Nothing slow about it. They've been playing such good street strongholds all game long. The Bulldog in hand, the Rockets put to work, and with that, now just 20 points away from punching a ticket to the international stage. But Timbers Esports need to figure out a way to get those 20 points, and will they be able to do it as quickly as they've gotten the first 229 is the big question for me. Nugget, he's going to trade, but Cintanegra, they lose 3 members momentarily, and the points are starting to climb. This could be the last single lives of the Cintanegra X members if they're not able to have success.
One last push for Cintanegra X to stop Timbers from getting one over on them, getting the revenge, going to Orlando. Doesn't matter, Timbers Esports, they get their revenge, they get top 3. We'll see them at Orlando.